Welcome to another edition of the Sports Web. I'm Peter Blake, along with Sean, the Sports Don. And what can you say about this disappointing loss on Sunday to the Denver Broncos by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 27-7? I'll give you three reasons why, or actually, we'll give you three reasons why they lost on Sunday. My number one reason would be Jameis Winston, 17 for 35, not even 200 yards of passing, and 2 turnovers. Winston has to be better. He has to be. In fact, if you're going to throw towards Aqib Talib, you're not going to win many battles. And in this case, the turnovers really killed the Buccaneers because the Broncos cashed in. What was your reason on Sunday for the Buccaneers?
Well, my first reason was Charles Sims in the running game. I think Jameis Winston is really missing Doug Martin, and that's why you see him getting in a situation where you think he has to do too much. Charles Sims ran for 15 attempts, 28 yards. That's 1.9 yards a carry. You cannot win any game when your running game is that future. I think once we get Doug Martin back, Jameis Winston may settle down a little bit, maybe not put too much on the shoulder, because that's part of what's going on right now.
And I think also it goes back to what you said about gaining 1 or 2 yards on first and second down. It puts your offense in a hole because instead of manageable third downs, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 4, you're looking at 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10, and 3rd and 15.
And you can't do that against a defense like that. I mean, Von Miller, those guys put the pin in their ears back, they're coming at you. Jameis Winston got beat up today.
Exactly, and that's what they want. The Denver Broncos want you to get into those situations so they can pin their ears back and come after Winston. And I thought the offensive line wasn't that great today, and that was probably my second point. The offensive line did not a very good job of protecting Winston. And look, coming into this game, we knew the challenges of Von Miller and Shane Ray, but the offensive line has to give Winston time to throw the ball, and they just didn't do it today.
Yeah, they did, and it's disappointing, but it's kind of to be expected. I mean, we've seen this defense do that to a lot of teams, so I'm not really surprised that happened. Got some young tackles, young offensive linemen, so just kind of saw that come to fruition today. Hopefully, they'll get better from that. They'll learn from that. My second issue with the Bucs right now, concern, is injuries. I mean, today we had Jerry McCoy go out. Looks like it's serious. He had a boot walking out. We had Noah Spence in a sling. We saw that. We saw Brandon Myers go down. We're already short or slim at the tight end position right now. Then you also
and the defensive line. I mean, that's been the Achilles heel for this team.
Exactly. Clint McDonald went out as well. So I mean, you add these injuries today along with some of the injuries that you've had earlier in the year, and it's an uphill battle for this Buccaneer team because they're not deep. They were not deep coming into the season, and we're seeing that right now. Jason Light's going to have to get on that phone and see what kind of calls he can make, maybe bringing some guys up from the practice squad because we're going to need it. We're going to need some help.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to need help, and you're going to need players to step up on this team because it does look like McCoy is going to miss an extended period of time, and it definitely looks like Noah Spence is going to miss some time. So the Buccaneer defensive line has to step up, which brings me to my third point, the defense. I mean, look, you would think that if you knock out Trevor Siemian, who, by the way, had 4 touchdowns versus the Bengals last week, that you would have an advantage. But once again, this defense is secure all for quarterbacks, especially a rookie quarterback. And Paxton Lynch, 14 for 24, 170 yards, and he had all day long to pick this secondary part, which once again doesn't do anything to make you think that they're going in the right direction.
No, it doesn't, and it's kind of disappointing because we talked about Lovie Smith's defense last year, and we thought we were going to see a little different in the secondary. But the secondary is getting picked apart just like it was last year. I don't see much different, and that goes back to my third point. There are no playmakers on this team outside of like Jameis Winston. Defensively, we saw an opportunity for Brent Grimes to pick off an interception right at the end of the first half to keep it a one-score game. The ball goes through his hand. Denver kicks a field goal. Yeah. Then they come right out at the
it's 17-7. That's 3 points.
Right, and then they come right out at the end of that first half, and then they go down and score again. So they're down 20-7 now. So it changes the dynamic of what you're going to do in the play calling, and you see the Bucs. Time and time again, not being able to make plays like we see other teams doing it. And I'd like to see our playmakers start to step into the forefront because, again, to be honest, if Jameis Winston isn't doing anything, there's no one that I really can depend on. And obviously, Jameis is having his struggles, don't get me wrong. But I know he can actually make some plays out there. I need to see these other guys make some plays consistently so we can start building momentum and gaining momentum in the football game so where we can go and probably get some victories.
Absolutely, and that's why it was so important, ladies and gentlemen, for the Buccaneers to get that win last week versus the LA Rams, because you would be looking at 2-2. Now you're looking at 1-3 going on the road against the Carolina Panthers on Monday Night Football. Again, it's a tough test for the Buccaneers, and somebody has to step up. For another edition
But
of this...
before we go, I would like to say this. There is a silver lining, though, for next week.
Sure.
Carolina is 1-3, just like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're not playing a great brand of football right now. So the Bucs, if they start to focus, like Juan Alexander was talking about in his press conference after the game, if they can start focusing, doing that extra, coming together, staying after work, going home, watching film, doing again extra, they could possibly win this game. It's their form. Carolina's not a world beater right now, but they're going to be pissed off because they're 1-3, and they're going to look at the Bucs as their cure-all. Hopefully, we can do the same.
Absolutely, and it doesn't matter. Derek Anderson, you're going to still have to get pressure on that quarterback, and it's like Jameis Winston said in the press conference, he's not going to give up, so hopefully you guys don't give up. This has been another edition of the Sports Web, live from Raymond James Stadium. I'm your host, Peter Blake.
I am Sean, it's both done.
And we are
giving you something
to think about.
Out.
See you next week.